big a fish do you reckon you'd have to catch to just immediately summon the local government? That's not a completely rhetorical question. I don't know how big this shark was, and your guess is as good as mine, but in 1666, 2 Italian fishermen brought in this absolute behemoth, and the Grand Duke of Tuscany stepped in and said, "Wait, keep the head. I want my court anatomist to dissect it." The anatomist was Nicholas Steno, and he was about to make history. Steno noticed that the teeth of his specimen looked a whole lot like these other weird rocks that people had been finding everywhere, forever, mysteriously encased inside of other stone. There had to be a connection between the teeth and the stone teeth, between modern seashells and the rocks which sometimes resembled them, but what? How could a shark tooth end up petrified, turned to stone, inside of another stone? So he sat on it for 2 years, and in 1669 he published these insights. It is possible for rock to form around another natural object like a seashell, and somehow this process turns the shell to stone. Rock cannot form around an object that doesn't exist yet, so if something like a tooth or a seashell or another stone is found encased in another rock, the object has to be older than the rock around it. Rock forms on top of other rock in horizontal layers. Therefore, on a layered rock, the layers lower down are older than the layers higher up. If the layers in a layered rock are not horizontal, something must have happened to the rock to flip it on its side. If a rock has a crack in it, the rock has to be older than the crack. And this is the really important part, you can apply these principles and basic regular logic to figure out stuff about the history of a rock, like how old is it, where did it come from, how did it form, and this was new. In the 1660s, rocks didn't have histories, they just were. Rocks didn't change, they just existed, and this paper laid the foundation for modern geology and modern paleontology. Isaac Newton was not a genius for noticing that stuff falls down. Isaac Newton was a genius for intuiting that the force making things fall down was also responsible for the motions of the moon and the planets. Likewise, Nicholas Steno is not just the guy who said, "This fossil looks like a shark tooth." He's the guy who said, "This fossil looks like a shark tooth, and if we follow that question far enough, it might tell us how the Earth formed."